My 5 biggest mistakes in wholesaling real estate. Guys, it's Rick Ginn with Flip with Rick. And if you want to continue to receive the absolute best up-to-date information, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button, and like this video. Let's get into it. My 5 biggest mistakes over 19 years when it comes to wholesaling real estate. Let's start with importance. So if I start from the day I started wholesaling, my biggest problem in the first 24 months was me trying to do absolutely everything. Now, you guys know I'm a big fan of doing the work yourself. You got to go on the sales appointments. You got to do your own marketing. You got to talk to a ton of sellers. And I still believe in that mission today. The problem is, say after 18 or 24 months, or maybe you get done quicker in 12 months. Most times I recommend 12 months doing it yourself, is you got to find people you can bring in your organization to help you duplicate what you do. Successful business people don't do everything themselves, but we get this entrepreneur bug, especially wholesaling. We feel like we're in control because we're doing everything. But the problem is, after a certain amount of time, this creates a huge problem and a bottleneck in your business. Like, I'm really good at sales. I'm really good at talking to people. I enjoy connecting and networking. The problem is on like the back end, I hate accounting. I like to look at the numbers. I just hate to input them and do all the data. The financials and a lot of the prepping, it's tedious, it's details, but it's absolutely necessary. It took me years to outsource that. I immediately found out the things I wasn't good at, and I would go out and find other people to help me do it. I'm not talking about bringing in 8 employees, but if your expertise is marketing and sales like mine, bring in other people and find an acceptable level to pay them to do the things that you don't want to do. The theory of trying to learn to do the things you don't want to do, you don't want to do it that way. So find out what you love to do, take it over the business, and then bring people in. Hopefully you can pay them off the bottom line to keep everybody's intentions true and have them help you do it. I waited too long. After year 2, I should have been bringing in multiple people one at a time. I didn't. And for that, it probably cost me a ton of money in the beginning. Guys, in the beginning, I want you to go on the journey, but if you're successful and you've set a dollar income figure, at what number are you going to bring in people to help you? And if you don't know that number ahead of time, that's where you'll never reach the number. And that's what I did. So after 2 years, I actually went around 6 or 7 years doing everything myself. Now, it's easy to find people to help you work with in your business. I'm not here to tell you how to hire employees. What I'm telling you is you have to set a time to shift out of doing everything, because in the long run, it will keep you a prisoner, and you can't grow in this business if you do everything yourself. So no great company's been taken down all by itself. So number 1, don't do everything yourself. Number 2, oh my God, this one was number 2, just being open-minded on doing real estate investing. We're all starting out wholesaling. It's what we do. To me, I love it. You minimize your risk, you maximize your return, you can generate a ton of cash, and that's great. As you go along, if you can figure out how to pick up rentals, do some minor fix and flips. By the way, I don't like fix and flips because a lot of them are speculation. And due to the cost of repairs and the unknowns, when you open up those walls, I'm not a big fan of that. Every now and then we choose a property that makes sense to do that, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about doing creative financing deals. I did short sales for almost 4 years exclusively because that's what the market was giving me. If I was stuck just doing wholesaling, there was like a 1.5 year period. Wholesaling it's just challenging. Wholesaling will always exist, but the idea is you diversify. While I was doing those short sale flips, I should have been much more open-minded to doing creative financing. And I did a few, and by the time I figured out how lucrative it was, a lot of the opportunities already bypassed me. Whenever we get a deal from a motivated seller, I'm open. I always want to wholesale first, and then I work my way backwards. I look at, okay, is this a property we want to keep in the company for cash flow? And then the next one we'll look at is possible even Airbnb situations for like waterfront properties. And then we look at, can we tie a creative solution in it? Why not use a creative solution? If you can buy a property using someone who's going to give you a note or terms or do a subject to, and you can calculate your rate of return, if you only have to come up with a few $1,000s, knock yourself out, man. Like, I turned down a lot of those, and because I was closed-minded to it, and I could have simply reached out with somebody partnered to teach me how to do it. Now I know how to do absolutely every one of them. And so it's exciting. So I tell everybody I work with, my staff, is when we're looking for deals, we are not just wholesalers. I started out just a wholesaler, and I want you to understand under tip number 2 is expand your mind past wholesaling. Wholesaling gets you started. Wholesaling is an easy way to generate a quick $100,000, but the idea is to grow and expand. There's a lot of opportunities that sometimes takes more than just a month or two to realize the profit. And I've had the luxury of doing those deals. But too long, I stuck in a one-track mindset, and that will actually kill a lot of deals for you. Let's move on to number 3. Big one. Guys, this one's huge. I didn't get enough legal help early. And actually, if I pulled 100 investors, I'd probably say 99% would say the same thing. You know when I called a lawyer? When I got in trouble. And I found out, now I did it in the beginning with contracts, especially probate, but there was things I could have done better with the lawyer to protect myself. And I was like, why pay for a lawyer? I know how to do the paperwork. It's all fine and dandy till you get sued and you have to stand in front of a judge. They pick your paperwork apart. I promise you, if you do all your paperwork yourself, it will eventually blow up on you. Try to find a good real estate attorney to help you with contracts, to help you advise on sticky situations. Those of you that are recording affidavits and memorandums, you have to understand the legal process. Just recording that actually makes you liable for defamation of title. I've had people go after me for that. So I've learned whenever I do an affidavit, I involve a lawyer, because you have the ability to be countersued for a lot of money if you do not perfect it. If you had a $500 deposit on a deal and they backed out on you, and you never left that $500 in escrow or with the seller, you actually don't have a right to record that affidavit. Like, you can be picked apart on the affidavit. An affidavit's recorded to protect your interests so nobody else takes title to the property. But if a lawyer comes back and goes, okay, Mr. Ginn, show me where you left a $500 deposit and you didn't leave it, then they can start poking holes at your intent on everything. They can actually wind up being sued for screwing up the homeowner's title. And remember, all courts look in the eyes of the homeowners. They assume they're the most vulnerable. And if you're a professional investor like me, if you don't do stuff legally, and by the way, they will literally dismiss you immediately and make you the target. Make sure you go out and get as much legal help early. By the way, preventative legal help is much, much cheaper than reactive. Reactive is when you're getting sued or threatened to get sued, or you got to file a legal piece of paper. It gets really expensive then. The actual going rate of lawyers around $550 an hour. It's getting expensive. The $200 and $300 lawyers don't exist. Let's move on. Number 4. I've learned from this one, sometimes painful conversations have to be done up front. And if you wait to load them in the back end, they're usually 10 times worse. I've had a lot of acquisitions people work for me. I've had a lot of internal sales people work for me. And my biggest mistake was accepting poor behavior or poor results early and not doing anything about it. So what do I mean by that? So if you ask someone to go in your database and do all the follow-up calls for these 86 calls, and they don't do it by the end of the day, it's just going to get 10 times worse. So instead of waiting till they have a review or waiting, hey, he'll get that deal, he'll get into it, fix it early, quick, let them rectify it. If they don't rectify it, amputate and move on. It never gets better. It only gets worse. So by you delaying those conversations, which is what I did, I actually created monsters. And then the conversation at the end was so painful. I realized quickly it would have been easier just to have that confrontation up front, and it would have saved the business a lot of time, money, and energy. Those of you that have people that work in your business, you spend a lot of time and effort training them. There's no point in training an employee that you know is not going to last in your company. Let's face it, we hire people that just don't do what they say. Your job's to snuff it out as soon as possible, especially with acquisitions people, because that's where the big issues can fall through. Number 5, a really big one. And if you start from day 1 in wholesaling and do this all the way to the end, you'll thank me later. You have to leverage every relationship in wholesaling real estate. What do I mean by that? Every seller, every buyer you deal with, every vendor, every title company, every lawyer, every probate lawyer, every architect, every other investor, you and me talking right now, is utilize those relationships, meaning is build on them. Don't just do them one time, leave it, send them a text and call it a day. If you can nurture and grow relationships, amazing things can happen. More and more doors open for you. I wish, my God, I wish I did this earlier. I didn't do this till late in my career. So you and me could have been having this conversation, I don't know, 15 years ago. So that's on me. So Rick, how do I leverage my relationships in wholesaling real estate? That's simple. You guys have this amazing thing called social media. Use it. So you need to use social media or social media is going to use you. I prefer you to use it yourself and create your business, create connections. I have amazing connections and friends all over the country, if not the world, from social media, and it would have never existed without it. So I do give it credit for that. So if you use social media as a leveraging tool to connect with everybody in the business, LinkedIn's a great tool. It's endless. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all the stuff that's going on now, Snapchat, is utilize it. I had to figure this part out late in life. I give Zach all the credit for it. He's really good at it. But, naturally, I love connecting with people. So once I embraced the technology and figured it wasn't that scary, it was actually fun. So now I can sell deals over the internet and minimize my time, but only with people that I have developed, grown, and invested in the relationship. Guys, harvesting your wholesaling relationships with buyers, sellers, vendors, other investors, rehabbers, contractors, landlords, amazing things will happen in your business. I want you to look at those relationships like you would look at money in a bank account. The more you invest in them, the more you'll get back. So when you need something and you invest in someone, how do you invest in somebody? If I know Susie's birthday's on next Wednesday and I just send her, hey, happy birthday. I like to do a phone call if you can do it in person. I know that's hard these days. Do it in person. When you need something for Sally, like you need that AC fixed tomorrow at a good rate, she goes, man, they took care of me on my birthday. That was amazing. Your title companies, your lawyers, when the special holidays come up, especially Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day, 4th of July, great time to just put in little parting gifts in there. And it might just be, I don't know, just a customized message and maybe a platter of cookies. Guys, these are investments that will save you a ton of time and money in your business. God, do I wish I did it early. So these are the top 5 things I regretted. And if you can just fix 1 or 2 of them, amazing things will happen for you. So guys, take these tips. Tell me what you think. Are there anything you can do here to help you not make the same mistakes I did, especially when I started out wholesaling real estate? And share a tip or trick with you, what you've done to help grow and prosper all your wholesale real estate investing relationships. So guys, if you want to continue to receive the absolute best up-to-date information on wholesaling today from investors that have done this business, and I don't sell you one thing. You know it ain't coming. You know how I feel about this. Do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Share this video with someone you think that'll benefit from it. Hit that like button. Guys, my 5 biggest regrets in wholesaling real estate. Learn from them. And if I can just save you from one, you're on to a much better start. This is Rick Ginn with Flip with Rick, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.